Knew a girl named Nikki, I guess you could say she was a sex fiend. I met her in a hotel lobby, masturbating with a magazine. She said, "How'd you like to waste some time?" And I could not resist when I saw little Nikki grind. The castle started spinning, or maybe it was my brain. I can't tell. Hey, Morgan! First today. Nice. Alvin's here. And that's, oh, there we go. Okay. Moneymore, Dark Sliper, and Dark Applier. Nolan, Anakin Skywalker, Bryson, Joel Gaming, Ride the Gamer. Oh, Ride a Gamer. That's what she said. I wish. Shidokage, Chaz Treat, 78 Vertigo, Himiko, Soft Hands, Michael Tanixon, Jonathan Velez is back, Krusty Bomb, Beast Ninja Head, Master Kun, Alex Miguel Torres, Michael Williams, TKD Saints. Wow, we got all right. We actually had some notifications go out today. Thanks, Susan. Even if it was an accident. I have the reason I titled this stream the way I did, it's been amazing to me well, it's happened before, but more recently with the anime I've been watching, there's been a lot of characters that have risen up to become, if not my favorites, way near the top of my favorite list that I didn't really expect them to. And I'm wondering how often that happens to you guys. Wolverine says, "Can't stay, but the Catholic Church." What's up with that? It sounded like the start of a Seinfeld routine, Wolverine. What's up with the Catholic Church? Why do they have to touch the young boys? Susan did something good. Impending doom is coming. Yeah, Lachlan. That's always the fear. Well, of course, it's 2020 though, Lachlan. Impending doom was kind of a given. Anyway, Frankie in One Piece, Henry. I like Frankie. He's not one of the ones on my list, but you know who's really hit me in One Piece that helped bring this up? Well, two of them actually were Bone Clay. And I was surprised I liked him as much as I did, but knowing, as you get to know him and his devotion he has to his friends, that would set him up to be one of my favorite characters. But Ivankov, good old Ivan Chan, I really like him because I was Magellan is obviously an asshole, but I have a lot of respect for Magellan because he's just doing his job and he's a badass in doing it. But then he made it really difficult for me to to stay on Team Magellan at all in any manner when he took out Ivan, because I really liked Ivan. He's just, god damn, I like Ivan a lot. I'm hoping he's not dead. I mean, they brought Luffy back, but that, like they kept saying, that was a miracle. Brother Malachi, good to see you, pal. A lot of people won't get it, but early Ocean Vegeta, he was hated back in the day, not popular. His popularity started when he trained harder than Goku, but never got the win. Author bias and such. Yeah, I'll give that. You're not completely alone, Brother Malachi, because I got to say, Brax always liked Vegeta's his favorite in Dragon Ball and was from early on. So he's got that. I know what you mean. In the earlier episodes, you weren't going to find a ton of people jumping on the Vegeta bandwagon, but yeah, you've got some company because Brax liked him right from the start. He'd have to explain it, but he always liked him. Excuse me, Kisame, and another one I can't say yet. Well, we share that one, Arthur. Me too. Kisame is not a character. When we met, you guys know Kisame is my favorite villain in Naruto, and when we first met him, I was like, yeah, whatever. He's going to be Itachi's sidekick. He'll be the second fiddle to Itachi the whole time. And I thought he was just their ancillary. But yeah, I ended up really liking Kisame, and I've said it many times, but especially the way he went out, called in his boys to eat him rather than give up some intel. That's a badass. Oh, Morgan. Ryuk, I thought based on his character design, he'd be scary and I'd hate him, but he's my second favorite in Death Note behind L. I'll even go one step further. Ryuk is my absolute favorite character in Death Note, Morgan. I like Ryuk a lot. Just the his whole nature of just being fascinated by watching this all go down, entertaining himself with all that, just makes him such a cool character. And I love, well, you and I both, we've talked about this before, Morgan, that L's death scene is just, I'm sorry. Light's death scene is one of the big moments in anime for me, one of the things that really stays with me. But even further than that is the next scene with Ryuk over there and his death note. That's goddamn. Just talking about that, Morgan, makes me want. I want to go watch the last episode again. It really does. Tom says didn't like Hohenheim at first. Me either, but ended up having a massive amount of respect from him at the end of FMAB. Another good call. Yeah, I'm right on board with. I think I even mentioned that at the time that at I didn't like him at the beginning. To me, he had taken off what I had seen. He had taken off on his kids, and you guys know me and the whole paternal thing. There's little crimes of humanity that are more egregious than that to me. But yeah, by the end of it, you realized how cool Hohenheim was. He was a great character. Definitely Moomin Rider, the cyclist of justice. He cheap jump scare. That's a good one. That's good. I got, you know what? I gotta before I watch the second season of One Punch Man, I really need to go back and watch at least good hunks of or a good recap of the first season. So because I was just thinking about how much I want to see the second season, but I want to make sure I go into that because it's been so long now, and you guys know my memory. I want to make sure I go into it fresh with everybody. The characters all fresh in mind and everything. Barry says nothing makes me better than you singing "Yes, Daddy." That's right. That's what we like to hear. Obito, J4, that's a good one. I could see that. Obito wasn't. Well, we just did my favorite character list on Naruto, so he was somebody I liked. He didn't make it into my upper echelon there, but yeah, I could see that. I could see him being a surprise character that you really end up liking. Wolverine says next post. The user of the spank spank fruit model harder, daddy. And Morgan says, speaking of the last Death Note episode, I always liked Matsuda, but he catapulted in my top 5 characters when he lit light up. I cheered. Yeah, he did. He was a good character, Matsuda, because you had the whole goofy kind of misfit element to him, and he wanted to do right, and he wanted to be effective, but he was kind of a goof. And you're right, that scene at the end. But yeah, you've really got me thinking about that again. It's been a while now. It hadn't even been all that long. We just watched Death Note not that long ago at the Goosh, but I want to go watch that last episode again. That whole final sequence is one of the greatest things I've seen. I just was blown away. Of course, I just finished Code Geass, and the same could be said there. That it just amazes me that, okay, maybe it's because you guys pick out anime for me, but see if you follow me on this. I watch movies. I've always been a movie buff, like most of you guys are. You go to a movie, whether you go out to the theater to see it, stream it, whatever the case may be. What would you say is the percentage of movies that really have a lasting impact on you, other than just entertaining you for an hour and a half? I'm going to say 1 out of every 12, 13, something like that. And yet, of the anime I've watched, I would say at least 50% of them, when I get done with it, it's like, wow, I mean, just blown away type thing, to where I know that it's something that's going to it's had such an effect on me. Every time I see a still from that anime, or the anime is discussed, is going to bring back a certain feel to me. And that's amazing for it to be that much of a difference. Shepard from Gamer Poost. Gamer Poop, best MC. Shepard's so awesome. It's funny what he was able to do with that character and make him that iconic. Lute, it's really, anime is just 1 out of a dozen for you, Lute. See, not for me, but again, I have the advantage of you guys having seen the ones that you guys recommend. So it's not like I'm just, like with movies, you see a trailer or something, or sometimes you're even just bored, so you watch it. So I haven't had that. I've actually been watching stuff that's been recommended to me, but I would say right about half of them have really had an impact on me. Hiei was a good character, Locus. Yeah, because he never rose to the tops of my favorites list, but I couldn't stand him at first. And by the end, it's like, yeah, this guy is a badass. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that one. Koro Sensei, TJ, I liked him, but I always liked him, so I can't put him in this category because I like Koro Sensei from the start. Sue from Monster Mizume. There's a good one, Haunted Spy. Surprisingly lovable character for a slime girl from a harem anime. True. When I was watching it, I remember making comments along those lines that I wasn't sure exactly how the characters would affect me, or if it would be if there could be effective characters in in storytelling like that. But yeah, you do. You really got a connection with a lot of them. That was a good series. Francis of the Filth anime hunter, aka the dark server of Lord Chin Chin. I Daniel, I think we're all in awe of Lord Chin Chin. I think that's a given. Orochimaru, really Goku Black. What I did like about Orochimaru was at the very end there where he was just randomly running around. Since nobody said it, Meruem and Hisoka. That's a good one, Lifer. For me, particularly Meruem, because I didn't expect to like him at all. You know, I expected to just root for him to have his ass handed to him and get him annihilated as soon as possible. And of course, he ended up being in what is to me the hardest hitting scene in anything I've watched so far. So yeah, he was a huge shocker to me. Hisoka, not as much, because he was so out there and so freaky that it wasn't a surprise to me that I liked his character. And at the same time, Hisoka never got to the top of my list of characters I like, so he stayed, he stayed more to where I expected. But Meruem with me, absolutely, completely. John Rivera says, I'm really trying to get my friend into anime, but he thinks all anime is just Dragon Ball with the ta-ta-ta-ta thing they do, so he's really hesitant on watching it. He is also like a Marvel addict. That's a little similar to how I was. For me, it was more that, and I don't know why, I never gave much thought to anime. And the reason I say I don't know why is because I love cartoons. I've always loved cartoons. I've loved animation. So I'm not sure why it was that I never really tried it. It could be part of that is all I knew of it was basically Dragon Ball. And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, these guys, and I didn't understand the level of character development and the depth of the characters. I always thought it was just, a bunch of badasses destroying planets and throwing shit at each other. So yeah, if it weren't for you guys, I I would obviously would never have found what turned out to be my most favorite by far form of entertainment there is. Lute says to include someone you're watching right now. Grimjow became a quick favorite during a second fight with Ichigo. Something about his personality hit me, and Bone Clay, for obvious reasons, boy is MVP. Yeah, he is. Bone Clay is a badass. I haven't gotten any type of a connection to Grimjow. I'll give him this. He just to where I am. The guy can take a hell of a beating because even when he does well in a fight, he takes beatings beforehand. He's Zoro-esque in that respect. Gets his arm cut off for disobeying orders, basically for being naughty, and just continues on. So I don't know if he'll ever be a favored character for me, but he is a badass. Barry says, last movie that had a long-lasting effect on me was Fate of the Furious. I was so amped up about it because I wanted to know how they take care of Paul Walker's character. Cried at the end of it. I saw the Fast and the Furious. I saw the first one, and then I never kept up with that series, Barry's. Again, it wasn't something I stayed away from. I just never made the time to watch it. So I haven't seen any of the others. I know a lot of people are huge on that series. Cheap Jump Scare says also Hughes and Scar from Brotherhood. Yeah, I didn't expect to end up liking Scar at all. I'm with you there. And Hughes, I can't say was a surprise because even though he was so goofy at first, I think because I had a bit of a connection to him. I think just because of the familial thing. He was so devoted to his family from the start. So I did have something of a connection with him right from the get go. But yeah, Hughes's death is like, oof, that's up there. That's up there in the tough moments. Stardust Nobody says now that you're done. What are your overall thoughts on Code Geass? One of your favorites now. Thoughts on Lelouch? Oh, I don't know if I want to. That's why I do the reactions. I give all the details of what I'm feeling in there. Code Geass was great. My favorite part of the series, I think, was probably all the shades of gray that it introduced. I like the fact that there, among all of the organizations, there was no cut and dried good guys, bad guys. And I think the way they balanced that was really, really well done. And it's also, I'm a big nerd for endings. And of course, the conclusion was just fantastically done, just brilliantly done. As far as one of my favorites, I mean, it's something I really enjoyed. I don't really, again, as I said, I just kind of put things on tiers. Um, so is it up there for me with One Piece and Hunter x Hunter and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood? That's something I'll have to. I always marinate on a little bit. Once I'm further away from it, I'll get a better feel for where I think it'll last me historically. But Lelouch was a fascinating and very intricate character. But again, the thing that'll always stick out with me for Code Geass is it did Shades of Grey better than anything else I've ever watched, allowing you to draw your own conclusions, and you could make a case for liking and or hating pretty much every group in there and pretty much all the individuals. Lachlan says we can all agree we never expected to love Meruem as much as we did by the end. Yeah, and the way they did it was so good too, Lachlan, because again, he was born into being a piece of shit. I mean, he comes right out of mommy and starts killing people for not pampering the king properly. So immediately you disliked him. But by the end, for me anyway, it was not just the whole heart tugging thing per se with Komugi, excuse me, but it was the realization that it's like, well, Meruem's only been alive for a few weeks here. So he was born into that role and never had any way of knowing anything else. But when the opportunity presented itself in a very short period of time as a Chimera ant, he ended up showing humanity. And I think that's what really attracted me to him. That he was able to progress from that psychotic despot to having a real connection with this girl. I mean, and a real genuine connection. Yeah, I am always so wowed by that scene, by that whole episode. Barry says, want to know the confusing part about your singing make me wet? I don't even have a vagina, so you know what that means. I have sticky stuff everywhere. And for everyone, that's the important thing, Barry's. You know what? I like how everybody, when they have some sticky stuff, it's always shared around here. That's as it should be. Milf Hunter Kekuane, Lick says. Danzo's the best character ever. Goku Black. Hold on a second here. Okay. John Rivera says, I've never liked Orochimaru. He just like a lot of other characters in Naruto. He's so fucking creepy and disgusting, pulling snakes out of his mouth and shit. See, I think he wasn't a favorite character to me, but I think he was a good character. I think Orochimaru filled his role really well. I think he was a good character in there. 78 Vertigo says, yo, Curtis, I know you don't read manga, but you need to read Berserk. It has the best arc in any manga. Guts is badass and maybe the best art too. The main character is so human that I forgot that it's manga. Again, I don't read manga not because I prefer not to. It's because I don't have the time to. And it doesn't matter how good it is. I just don't have the time. Dowlord says, previous post? Let's see. See if I can find it. Hold on, guys. Okay, why am I not? Am I going right by it? Oh, there it is. Okay. Sesshomaru from Inuyasha. He's the MC's dick brother, but he's so powerful and carries himself with such poise that he really struck me as a great character. Plus, he has great character development. That's cool. Inuyasha got a lot of support in the last poll we did. That was Hajime no Ippo was way up there, and Inuyasha I know did really well too. So that maybe coming up sometime in the near future. Makunda says, "What do you feel about Obito? Good character. I liked him by the end. Again, he wasn't one of my upper echelon favorites in the series, but really good character, Obito." Black Zetsu did nothing wrong. Goku Black says, "Now Black Zetsu I hate. Black Zetsu easily was my most hated character in Naruto by the time it was done. Whiny little bitch hiding in mommy's sleeve, punk." Sam Brown says, "Orihime or Sakura? I think it's obvious to me because one has a stupid obsession and one doesn't." As far as characters, I like Orihime's character better. Yeah, I just uh, I know that it's been told to me a lot of the fan base sees Orihime and Sakura similarly because they feel they're both useless. But first of all, I don't. You guys know I'm not a Sakura hater. So is she underutilized? Yes. Is she useless to me? No, she's not entirely useless. I like to make jokes about it, but I mean, honest feelings, she's just underutilized. But for me, it's more egregious with Sakura because she's like supposed to be one of the top three. You know, she's team 7. It should be Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, and Naruto, Sasuke carry everything, and Sakura just trails behind. So, given that, I think she's a much more disappointing than Orihime, who was just a regular run of the mill kid and then discovered she has some of these abilities and is doing the best she can to run with it. So that's why, to me, I don't see that comparison. I don't think that's fair to Orihime to call her useless because I think, at least to the point I've seen, she's lived up to as much as could be expected of her. Haunted Spy says, "When it comes to movies, I got to hand it to The Great Gatsby. Jay is just so cool. It's where I got to watch that again. I watched that when it first came out, and I haven't seen it since. That was a good movie." Just finished Milag. Just finished Code Geass. Yep. The last episode just went up at the Goosh today, and I've watched the first 2 episodes of the 4th season of High School DxD. I love that show. Oh, and that's another one of the characters that surprised me is Kaneko, because you think of DxD and you got Rias Gremory. You got Rias Gremory's mom. Yeah, and I mean, just the women in there. Akino is just insanely gorgeous, but nowhere, she's not even a blip on my waifu list. But Kaneko is one of my favorite characters, though, in the show. And right in the first episode of the 4th season, again, she has what was my favorite line of the episode. She's just, God damn, she's just a great character. I liked her even more when she was more, fuck off, Chain, when she was more of an antagonist to Issei. But she's just great character. Great character. Krusty Bomb says Crow, that's a good character because he's so bland that you have to base him off of aspects from each member of the Phantom Troop, and I really love that. Not to mention the manga only content. Not to mention the manga only content. Yeah, he's a quality character. He's a good boss of an organization. I just like his overall demeanor, his cool. Yeah, I agree. I like him a lot. He ended up being a better character than I thought he was going to be. Lude says Orihime was more utilized as a side character than Sakura as a main. I agree. Plus, if you look at Sakura at the end of Naruto versus Orihime at the end of Bleach, no spoilers, obviously, but the difference is clear. Yeah, and even where I am, Lude, I get exactly what you're saying. To me, Orihime is doing the best she can with what she has, and Sakura, through no fault of her own, never lived up to the abilities that she does have. Cheap Jump Scare says Orochimaru is just anime Michael Jackson. Yeah. 50-something years old, creepy nose, pale as fuck, and into using the bodies of young boys. Changed my mind. I'm going to try and change your mind. You got it as far as I'm concerned. All he needed was the hat that he could fling across the stage. Sriracha God. He died. Yes. He was still an asshole and murked my boy Asuma, but I love his character. Me too. Well, again, when I say he's my favorite Akatsuki member, I know that officially Kisame was an Akatsuki member too, but that wasn't a real compelling part of his character, so I don't count him. Of the hardcore Akatsuki members, Hidan was clearly my favorite, and that one was a huge surprise because especially me, when they first introduced him, it's like, oh no, this guy's a door-to-door religion salesman. I was like, oh, I was all ready to just be nothing but annoyed and dismissive of him, and he was just the best. The thing that hit me hard in South Park were Nelson's last word, no hope. Excuse me. Morgan says, Alphonse versus Ryuk, who's your fave? It's hard for me to say, Morgan. When you, to me at least, when you go cross animes, two different animes, it's almost impossible for me to say I like one more than the other. Now, if you say where they rank within their anime, that's the best way I can do it. Alphonse, if you do it just that way, then it's Ryuk, because Ryuk is my favorite character in Death Note, and Alphonse is right there at the top, but there are other characters I really liked in FMAB as well. But Ryuk is clearly my favorite in Death Note. He was just, again, the whole voyeuristic attitude he takes about the whole thing. So just a detached voyeur. It's perfect, and it cracks me up. And he's just so interested in watching the goings on, and fascinated with the way Light approaches all this. Biggest Green says, the fact that you ended up liking as many religious characters as you did is surprising in itself. Yeah, I've always said, regardless of what my feelings are on anything specifically, I like storytelling, and I like good storytelling. So if you make I don't care what a character's background is, if you can make him a quality character, there are some things a character can do that are disqualifying to me. It's like in My Hero Academia. His name always goes out of my head. Flaming Daddy there. When he smacks his wife, I don't think there's any coming back from that endeavor. I don't think there's ever. I might be able to get behind Endeavor as far as saying, okay, he can be a hero and I could root for him in a fight here or there, but he'll never be among my favorites because of that. 17's performance in DBS for me was simply a bolt out of the blue, Warren says. I liked him fine in DBZ, but didn't expect that. Yeah, he wasn't even, I agree completely with that, Warren. He wasn't even on my radar in DBZ. I mean, he was an all right character, but he's not, he would have been, of 16, 17, and 18, he was the one that had the least impact on me. 18 because of her relationship with Krillin and everything was always a forefront character, and you guys know I love 16. Must kill Goku. I really enjoyed his character, but 17 really did nothing for me. And then in Super, he became one of my favorites. Barry says, I'm surprised nobody said it, but the Goosh Man became an instant favorite of mine. Dude's just living the life, fat as shit and doesn't care, gets mad bitches and gets to bad touch whatever he wants. I think Barry's, I think that's a case more of, that's something we see as just as a given. How can you not love the Goosh Man? I think that one is just like, it doesn't even need to be mentioned. If it's hard to compare cross anime characters and who's better, Luffy or Shao Tucker, Willie says. Ooh, I don't know. Let me get back to you on that. Shao Tucker is a he's a class guy. Fucking Shao Tucker. I hate him. Sam Brown says, I know you're in the middle with Sasuke, but he fills his role well as being a character that you can understand but disagree. Not talking about preference, but he's a good character to me. Yeah, like I say, he's not a bad character to me. He's just a meh character. He, as you say, does he fill his character role well? Sure. I just don't think that his role was never something that leapt out to me, even though he was a main character. Again, I don't dislike him. He never motivated me much either way. Downward says, Okiura and Grimjow are my favorite Espada. Grimjow has a one-track mind. I respect that. Well, Okiura is just so calm and collected. Yeah, of the two, at least right now, and I'm still going, of course, Downward, I like Okiura better of the two. He's more intimidating to me too. I do respect the fact that Grimchow can, as I mentioned earlier, the guy can take a hell of a beating and just continue on. So he gets the shit kicked out of him constantly, and in the next episode, he's right back up and ready for more. So yeah, he's definitely got that singular focus. But yeah, of the two, I like Okiota better so far. Again, we'll see where it ends up. Genesis Kaiser says, hold on. Oh, you retracted it. I was just gonna read that. Bone Clay will come my way. Oh, Bone Clay, Yarborough. Who would ever thought? I mean, I just love everything about it. And typically stuff like that starts to get on my nerves, but for some characters are able to pull off things that other characters would just be annoying with. And that constant spinning and everything, I just love it. It just cracks me up. I just love that guy. And I really liked Ivan. I'm really pissed off about that. So Jill says, if you think about it, Uchiha are the real blacks of the Naruto-verse, and the Reikage and Killer Bee are just privileged blacks from Beverly Hills. So Jill says, well, the Uchihas, yeah, they have what should we say, a complicated existence. Joe says Vegeta from DBZ and DBS are my fave. The character growth is amazing. Yeah, that one I'll give you, Joe. He may not be at the top of my character list, but I've always said he's got among the best character development of anybody I've seen. When you see where Vegeta started to where his character is now, and the perfectly fluid, naturally progressive way they did it, yeah, that's he's been really well done. Real well done. Biggest screen that says off topic, but I'm happy you went back to playing Danganronpa, especially because you stopped when things were about to get good last time. Yeah, it seems like I think people will enjoy watching along. I'm trying to think of things. Excuse me, guys. I really, obviously, as you guys can see here from the stream, I just love all things anime, and I find I'm happiest of all when I'm getting to do anime related stuff, and that's how I got playing Danganronpa, because we know it's not an anime, but there's a reason that anime fans are so into the game. It's because of the style of the game, and so I like having that connection there. So I'm trying to figure out exactly what I want to keep most, at the YouTube channel. But what I'll try and put up Danganronpa regularly. In between I'll keep, because even though they don't get big views, they get really long watch time, and I know we have a really interested audience that wants to be kept up on the series that we do over at the Goosh. So I try and keep putting up those update vids. But we'll keep the other stuff mixed in as well. But I like to play through Danganronpa. That's what got me thinking about it. Is I've never had any other game mentioned to me anywhere as near as often as you guys asked me to play that. Morgan says next post. Oh, it's right here. Seto Kaiba. Don't like him much. Didn't like him much when I was a kid. I thought he was a jerk, but now as an adult rewatching, I love how snarky and sarcastic he is, and how true to his ideals he is, even if I disagree. See, I don't know his character well enough to comment. I have money. I to make a good comment on it, but I understand what you're saying about the character traits, because I have some characters that are like that too. Whereas I don't agree with much of their goals or sometimes their values, but somehow the other elements of their characters are able to trump that, and you end up liking them a bit. So I get exactly what you're saying. J Flow says, "Hey Curtis, watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's an all-time great and definitely fits your humorous personality. It's one of the best surprises I've had, because when I went to watch it, I planned to enjoy it, and I knew a little bit about it because when Spaz Kid was little, he was into it, so I knew a little bit about it. But I never thought it was going to be as good as it was. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed it." Lud says, "Your preference to Okiota instead of Grimjaw is very surprising to me, to be honest. Usually annoyed by the emotionless, smart characters, but love the gung-ho battle ones. Interesting one day." That may be true in certain characters, but that would be probably more or less detached from the fact that they happen to be gung-ho. It's way more complicated than that for me as to whether or not I like a character. With Okiota, I just like for him, that quiet confidence works. I like it within the character. to me and other characters, it just makes him seem jerky. But with Ulquiorra, it seems like he's being true to who he is. As a matter of fact, right from when Grimjow called him out, I was like, oh, go fuck that guy. It's one of the reasons I didn't like Grimjow, because his first impression wasn't good, considering I liked Ulquiorra, and Grimjow was coming at him for bullshit reasons. That's what put me on the downside right away, was the relationship between the two. But as far as those elements of a character, that may be true. There may be a lot of them that fell into that category of like or dislike for me, but those reasons probably weren't the most prominent ones. I mean, in some characters, the reason I feel about them is so obvious, like um oh gosh, Kabuto through most of Naruto. It was I'd always said if I had watched that in sub, I probably wouldn't have hated him as much, because I've listened to his voice in sub on a number of occasions, and he's not nearly as obnoxious and smarmy in Japanese as he is in English. Renzo says DBZ will always be my favorite anime, but I've never seen something as beautiful as Hunter x Hunter. The music is on point, amazing story, and Isaac Netero is my hero. Yeah, Hunter x Hunter is just, Hunter x Hunter was so good all along, and then to get to that Chimera Ant arc. And I remember when the Chimera Ant arc started, I wasn't sure on it. I was like, did they stretch this too far? Because am I going to get to a point I don't like? Because when they first started it, when they're first discovering the ants, and oh gosh, what's the character's name? Oh, can't remember his name. But Gon, Gon's friend, who of course it all revolved around when the ants took him out and everything, with the long hair, skinny guy with the long hair. His name's gone right on my head. Big surprise. But anyway, we first meet him and everything, and I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. And he talks about, he makes reference to the kite. Thank you. Thanks, Blue Morpho. Kite makes reference to the ants, and okay, watch out for what's coming. I was like, I don't know. This might be getting too out there for me, this whole ant thing and everything. And then it turned, because just to prove that you never know what you're going to get, it's clearly and easily my favorite arc of anything I've seen so far. Thank you, guys. Yeah, Kite, not a complicated name, but it doesn't take much for it to escape my memory. Best waifu in Naruto, Sandra, is Lady Mitsukage. Yeah, Lady Mitsukage. They're just the voice, the look, the demeanor. Yeah, I liked her a lot, and she's hot. Getting into flames. Chrome says shouldn't surprise me much, but in Dr. Stone, there's excuse me, sorry guys, who starts off a bit obnoxious but does grow into one of my favorites because he'll do anything to protect friends. Yeah, that's I like that element of, well, you guys know that element of characters as well. It's one of the main reasons why Luffy is my favorite character in One Piece. I'm trying to think. We've talked about it before. I have to think through. I don't know which anime are out there where, outside of One Piece, where the main character is my favorite character. Mob Psycho. I really like Mob. I don't know if he's my favorite though. You know who I ended up liking, to talk about characters I never thought I'd like, is Dimple. Dimple fucking cracks me up in Mob Psycho. I can't think of any other. There probably is one or two, but I can't think of any other anime where. Well, wait a second. What about Hellsing? Hellsing, no, I'd probably give a slight edge to Ceres over Alucard as favorite character in there. Yeah, I don't. I'm just trying to run them all through in my head. Yeah, I don't think there are many others. Ichigo's a great character, Sam. I don't think he'll end up being my favorite character in Bleach because there are just too many great characters. But yeah, I do like him a lot. One Punch Man, that's true, Diggus. There you go. Yes. Saitama's my favorite character in One Punch Man. Yep. So that's two. Yep. I forgot about that one. I know that's the police character is the main character. Silly character. That's what I was saying, Lix. I was trying to think of characters where the main character is my favorite. And I was saying, well, no, because Ceres is just barely over Alucard. Because Alucard is clearly my second favorite character, and that that would have been a main at first. So that's what I was trying to think of. But I did forget about Saitama is definitely my favorite One Punch Man. No, Spike was not my favorite in Cowboy Bebop. And names just escaping me. That's a tough one, but for me, it was Radical Ed. How you could not love her. I just everything about her character. She was so quirky and funny, and it was so sad and yet cool the way that she left. She left them and everything. It just, yeah, it was clearly Radical Ed is a comfortable favorite for me in that series. Let's see. J Flow says you're honestly my favorite anime reaction channel. Well, thank you. Your reactions are true and genuine, like others. It's a pleasure to watch. So thanks. I appreciate that. That's kind of you to say. I like Toby with orange mask. Goku Black says there are other characters in One Punch Man. Lifer says, yeah, Saitama is such a great character, though. He really is. I'll give you guys a little insight into it. I've almost got the first episode of Golden, the actual series, done, where you find out exactly how Golden gets put in the predicament he ends up in as the main storyline. And in this dimension that Golden ends up in, it's a conglomeration of dimensions from throughout space and time. And you see a lot of characters that are familiar, but they have different names and different abilities because they came from different dimensions. All the dimensions have same creations, same people, same characters, but they've chosen different paths. So I think that made me think of it because Saitama will be showing up. And there's one character who runs that dimension and who Golden decides he's going to take down because he's going to be the boss. And I don't think any of you guys would be able to guess who that character is. Although most of you would know the character, I think. Who do you like more, Sonic or Mario? Mario. I was never a big Sonic fan, Sandra. I mean, I had nothing against it. I just never played it much. I liked Mario games way better. Oh, yes, Chrome. I meant to tell you about that. The guy who imported Golden did a really good job for me. He did an excellent job. I would definitely, if I'm going to import some more, I would go back to him. Yeah, I'm very pleased with the job he did. And I'm a good hunk of the way through the learning curve on the 3D modeling, of course, is steep enough. But then too, SFM, I'm discovering, is buggy. And it has a nasty habit of doing things like you'll be working with a character and then you'll go to do something else within the scene. You come back to the character and all of a sudden all the rigs no longer function. They don't function with the character. So you have to delete that model and import the same model again to hook them back up. So a lot of little annoyances like that end up taking extra time. But I'm getting the modeling down better and better. This one doesn't have explicit amounts of detail with the character movements while they're talking, like this, that, and the other. But that's by design because I want to actually be able to put episodes out too. So you got to sacrifice a little bit. Hopefully you guys like it. Grimjow, Michael, Grimjow is an odd one to me. I like the fact that he's tenacious. And that no matter how much of a beating you give to him, he just keeps coming back, whether it's his arm getting cut off or just getting his ass kicked in a fight. But we were talking about it earlier. He got off on the wrong foot with me because of the whole little thing with Ulquiorra. I thought it made him kind of a douche when he came down on Ulquiorra for what I thought were ridiculous reasons. So immediately I was rooting for old Green Eyes to just kick the shit out of him. So that's one of the reasons he hasn't connected with me. But who knows where it'll be by the time it's over. Willie says, I know you don't put them in the reactions, but do you watch the anime openings? And so, which is your favorite? Yeah, I do. But as far as a favorite, I have no idea. I wouldn't be able to recollect my way through all the anime openings I've seen and figure out, which one I like the most. Blender just says, yeah, there's, why won't, because of what I discovered with how I'm doing this animation, Chrome, this story will be all in SFM. Now, when I complete this, or as I do side projects with 3D animation because I'm just really enjoying 3D animation. I might do some of them in Blender, but this series will all be in SFM. Yeah, Mustang was a great character. Amim, yeah, Mustang, yeah, great character, and I like. A lot of people came down on him for some of the things he did, like the brutal way he took out Lust, and huh, Lust did it for me. You guys know that, but I don't. I always appreciated Mustang's take on thing. Haunted Spy says, Curtis, have you watched Konosuba? Oh, just one of the best. Been a while since I've been here, so I wouldn't know. Every character is funny as hell. Yes, I'm Kazuma. Yes, I'm Kazuma is one of my all-time favorite lines from anything. And the fact that you guys are the ones who told me that was improvised makes it even better as far as I'm concerned. Just the first couple episodes I seen of Black Clover, Kieran. We had a couple episodes sponsored over at the Goose. I've only seen that. How am I liking it? I don't like Eisen, but is he a good villain? Excellent villain. Stardust, nobody sure. Excellent villain. Again, a lot of times that's why some people are a little confusing to me when I read in comments. I'll talk about Eisen's a good example. Clark Kent, how much I can't stand him, and they're like, "Oh, but you're missing out. You don't appreciate his." It's like, no, he's a villain. If I'm telling you I hate him, the writers did their job. I'm not supposed to like Eisen, at least at the point I'm at in the story. So if I really have a distaste for him, that's a good thing. I mean, that means they've done what they're supposed to. Chrome says, I've always liked intelligent and cold characters who can be a little psycho. Okiura, Mayuri, Tanya, Phospholite? I don't know that one. Last two especially gonna be crazy because the world beats them down. Tanya the evil. That's one of the things that Hohenheim, we were talking about him earlier. Van Riley agreed. That's one of the things I really miss. I'll tell you, Chrome, about the old reaction video streams we were able to do when you guys were showing me all those Tiny the Evil clips. Those were fun. Those still stick with me. They were a blast. Let's see. Chrome says, "Oh, by the way, Curtis, can you see the opening for my G100 this month? There's no spoilers in it. Plus, it's cute." The only problem I have there, Chrome, is excuse me, guys. I just got asked that again the other day. A lot of people asked me about that, and I don't watch spoilers when I'm first watching a series because I'm afraid, or I'm sorry, watch openings when I'm first watching a series because I'm afraid of spoilers. But I don't ever put them in the video because it's a separate. If I do get challenged on fair use, it's a separate issue because that music, fuck off, train, even though it's within the context of an episode, is a totality different creation. And it's way more difficult for me to come up with a strong defense against an individual song than it is an individual episode of a much larger series. So that's the main reason I don't put them in, even when I go back. And now the only thing I can think of is if there are openings that are on YouTube, have been on YouTube for an extended period of time with a lot of views, I would be willing to take a risk at YouTube and do some reactions to openings there. But to have the opening within the context of the whole episode makes me a little uneasy. But like I say, Chrome, now I don't even know if it exists. But that I would be willing to do, and that I could do right on the YouTube channel. Because at least there I can go back and say, okay, well, how was I to know? First of all, if they do copyright like they say they're gonna, if I react to the opening at YouTube and it gets copyright claimed, I can just delete the video. That's what they're saying is the case now. But as long as it has a lot of views and been up for a while, I've always got, I mean, that's a real strong representation when you can come back and say, how the hell, why would I think that you're going to file a copyright claim when you let this video exist with 1 million views over the last 5 years? So because I've been thinking about that because so many people ask me about doing opening reactions. So I might try and incorporate them into YouTube, but only under those guidelines. You know, if I can find one that's been up on YouTube for a long time with a lot of views. What's your opinion on Gohan's father-son Kamehameha? That was cool. That was awesome. Bob Jones says Kyo Karamoa would be perfect for you for humor. I don't think I ever heard of that one, Bob. Kyo Karamoa. No, I don't think I ever heard of that. 2000 version or 2016 version of which, Kiranaz? Which one are we talking about? The highest viewed one I can see is 700K and up to 5. Now, see that I would be comfortable with that. If you got 700,000 views and it's been up for 5 years, again, that gives me something to base a fair use claim on, because at least then I can go back and say, why is this a copyright infringement when that wasn't? At least it gives me something to work with. We really should get Tanya as a series eventually. It's 12 episodes long, so it would be a fairly short series. And I'm so, well, you know that, Chrome. You were with us when we were doing the reaction video streams. I'm just so fascinated by that character. That cute, Cupid doll little face doing all that nasty shit. And especially when you find out it's actually a dude, a male soldier wrapped up into that package now. Berserk anime? It was what was it, 96? The 96 version. Yarborough says Jesus ended up being a surprise favorite for me. That rising again was a real plot twist. It was. A lot of us didn't see that coming. Chris, my favorite character is Kirito, Sword Art Online. I like Kirito. I was just gonna say I really like him in the abridged. I didn't even say that was the next word, because his attitude is so perfect that it's surprising how perfect they made him act toward everyone around him. Yeah, he's cool as hell in there. The Kirito is always right foundation and everything. Yep, I couldn't agree more. I like him a lot. I'm really curious what you're going to think about Mayuri Cuphead Captain as the series goes on. It's one of the biggest love-hate relationships I have in anime. He'll be interesting to me. Luda, a couple other people have brought it up to me, and you guys have always been so good about not giving spoilers. They didn't spoil anything, but saying basically that they're interested to see where I end up standing on him. So that I like when you guys bring up stuff like that, because it makes it more intriguing for me too. Because initially, of course, he's pissed me right off. So it'll be interesting to see if there's redeeming value to him for me and everything. Favorite mega evolution? Or manga evolution? Sandra, we were talking about that earlier. I'd have to go through them all, but I know Vegeta's is among the best I've seen. Genesis Kaiser says character from the first Gundam inspired Lelouch. His father was also killed. He was exiled. I think somebody mentioned something about that before. Had a vendetta against the family that murdered his father. Wears a mask, is intelligent and manipulative. I watched the 2016 version of Berserk first, Kirino says, which takes place after the 1996 version, which was pretty confusing. Yeah, well, that's where I get lucky, Kirino, because I have you guys to direct me. Because when we decided to watch Berserk, everybody came in. That one wasn't even close. Everybody came in force and said, no, you watch the 96 version. Don't even bother otherwise. Next post. Okay, Morgan. Oh, there it is. Did you react to the last Naruto movie? That's a good question, Morgan. For some reason, I thought you did the Goosh a long time ago, but I can't find it. I'd love to see that if it's up. I know you can't do movie reactions anymore. I don't remember. It's not a big surprise to anybody. I wanted to say I did. I'm just not sure, Morgan. It's one of those things that just won't come back to me. I'm not sure if I did or not. Oh, that one, Chrome? Was that the one where the file glitched? I do remember that was one of the problems I was having, were the files at the time. That could very well be what Chrome was saying, because I do remember having that issue. I didn't remember with which movies it was. Okay. Your Lie in April was fantastic, Sandra. Loved it. Absolutely loved Your Lie in April. Rangiku or Yoruichi? J-Flo says. The real question. Of those two, they're both hotter than hell. I'd take Rangiku, but neither one of them are my Bleach official waifu. That's Kukaku. There's just something about, boy, she struck me right from the get-go. Immediately, I liked her. You should team kill on Call of Duty. I miss Call of Duty, Bob. I obviously the channel when the channel first started was based on Call of Duty. I miss playing that. Lord says, I'd love if Shinseki Yori from the New World was a possible series to vote on in the future. It's such a mind-bendingly great series. I don't think I've heard of that one, Lord. Of course, everything everything we do comes in, goes up for nominations, and then a poll over at the Goosh. But I don't think, hmm, I don't think I've heard of that one. Excuse me. I haven't seen Beastars Daily Dose of Blues. I haven't seen that. Kenny McCormick. Winnie the Pooh killed me. That yellow bastard. Sajil says Itachi killed his entire clan so innocent bystanders wouldn't get hurt. And these people are looting and setting buildings on fire and beating people up who have nothing to do with what happened. Well, unfortunately, the parallels between what we experience in 2020 and pretty much anything else are always going to be, at least through May, are going to be kind of perverse, unfortunately. Chrome says, I'm really curious now how you'd react to Usagi and Sailor Moon now. Part of me thinks you'd hate the main around the start of the show for being a crybaby, maybe one day. Favorite assassin in Assassin's Creed? I haven't played enough of them, Sandra. Brax Spaz Kid has played most of the Assassin's Creed releases. I never played through an entire one. I watched him play through a bunch of them. That was back in the day when we had more time together, and I would just sit there and watch him play it because the game is such a gorgeous game. But I've never really played through them. Diga says, but Curtis, you should watch Boruto. It gets good after episode 500. It's funny how many times, Digas, we've seen people saying things similar to that and not sarcastically. All right, guys. Oh, I'm going to pack it up for today. Got a little more editing to do, and I'm really trying to get that first episode of Golden done. I hope you guys like it. Man, there's a lot of work goes into these, but it's fun. I'm having a blast doing it, so I'm hoping you guys enjoy it. And today is midweek sticky stuff. Midweek sticky stuff. All right, it's not the freshest. It's not like Monday. It's not as celebratory. Like Fridays is just such happy sticky stuff. Wednesday's sticky stuff. All right, I'm being honest. It's kind of meh. But even when it's kind of meh, sticky stuff is still it's sticky stuff. It's pretty wonderful. So here we go. Everybody gather around. Pumple, 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 pumple. Here comes some meh, sticky stuff. Meh for you, meh for you, meh for you. Sticky stuff, sticky stuff, sticky stuff. Some of you may like to take a day off, of having sticky stuff that's really potent. So a little bit of meh is always a good thing because we'll bang, okay? Flashily like Buggy. And as always, most importantly, and it's never meh, goosh, 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 goosh. Goosh.